You can sleep for 8 hours, wake up, and still feel like your mind is tired. Not your body. Your mind. You haven't done anything difficult yet. You haven't worked for hours. You haven't solved a serious problem. But somehow, there is already weight inside your head. You open your phone for a few minutes, and suddenly your mind feels crowded. Someone is arguing. Someone is succeeding. Someone is showing a perfect life. Someone is sharing bad news. Someone is telling you what to care about. And without noticing it, you start carrying all of it. Not fully, not deeply, but enough to feel drained. That is the strange part of modern exhaustion. You are not always tired because you are doing too much. Sometimes, you are tired because too much is entering your mind. And your brain is being forced to react to things it was never built to handle every day. This is why mental tiredness feels confusing. Because from the outside, your life may look normal. You wake up. You check your phone. You reply to messages. You do some work. You scroll for a while. You watch something. Nothing looks extreme. Nothing looks dramatic. But inside, there is constant movement. One thought begins, then gets interrupted. A feeling appears, then gets replaced. You try to focus, then something pulls you away. You try to relax, but your mind keeps searching for the next thing. And by the end of the day, you don't feel peaceful. You feel empty, overloaded but unsatisfied, tired but restless, bored but unable to sit still. This is not laziness. It is what happens when your attention has been pulled in too many directions for too long. Most people think exhaustion comes from hard work. And sometimes it does. But today, mental exhaustion often comes from constant switching. You move from a conversation, to a notification, to a video, to a task, to another thought, to another app, to another emotion. Your mind never fully arrives anywhere. It keeps restarting, again and again. That sounds small, but it is costly. Every time you switch, your brain has to adjust. It has to remember what you were doing. It has to understand the new thing. It has to decide whether it matters. Then it has to react. Then it has to move again. This is why you can spend 1 hour online, feel like nothing happened, and still feel worn out afterward. Because you did not rest. You kept scanning, comparing, choosing, reacting, preparing for something new. And the more this happens, the more normal it starts to feel. You stop noticing the noise. You only notice the result. The heaviness, the low motivation, the strange lack of interest, the feeling that even simple things require effort. This is where the psychology begins. Your attention was not made to treat everything as important. But the modern world presents almost everything as if it needs you now. A message feels urgent. A headline feels serious. A clip feels entertaining. A post feels personal. A notification feels like a small demand. And your mind has to decide what to do with all of it. Open it. Ignore it. Reply to it. Think about it, save it. Worry about it. Compare yourself to it. Even tiny decisions create pressure when they happen all day. Mental fatigue is not only caused by big problems. It is also caused by hundreds of small unfinished signals. Messages you opened but didn't answer. Tasks you remembered but didn't start. Posts that triggered something in you, then disappeared. News that disturbed you for 5 seconds, then got replaced by a joke. Your mind receives all of it, but it rarely gets time to settle it. So your inner world becomes crowded. Not with clear thoughts, with fragments, half feelings, unfinished reactions. And when your head is full of fragments, focus becomes harder. Patience becomes thinner. Calm becomes less available. Even motivation needs space. But if your attention is already scattered, everything meaningful starts to feel heavier than it should. This is also why boredom feels different now. Boredom used to be empty space. Now it feels like a problem. The moment nothing is happening, you start looking for stimulation. Something to check. Something to watch. Something to refresh. Something to escape into. Not because you are weak. Because your reward system has learned that relief is always one tap away. A little discomfort appears. You open an app. A little boredom appears. You scroll. A difficult thought appears. You distract yourself. A task feels hard. You reach for something easier. Slowly, your brain starts linking discomfort with escape. And this is where energy begins leaking. Because the mind never learns to stay through the uncomfortable moment. It learns to avoid it. But avoided discomfort does not disappear. It waits. So later, when you finally need to do something real, study, work, think clearly, make a decision, have a difficult conversation, your tolerance is lower. You want the easier reward, the faster reward, the cleaner reward, the reward that asks nothing from you. That is why scrolling can feel relaxing for a moment, but leave you more tired afterward. It gives movement without progress, stimulation without satisfaction, input without clarity. Your head becomes full, but not restored. This is why mental drain often comes with emotional numbness. You are not completely sad. You are not completely happy. You are just flat. Things that used to interest you feel weaker. Small responsibilities feel bigger. You know what you should do, but knowing does not create energy. You may sit with the task in front of you, understanding exactly what needs to happen and still feel unable to begin. That feeling is frustrating because it makes you question yourself. You think, why can't I just do it? Why am I like this? Why do I feel tired for no reason? But there is a reason. Your attention has been overused. Your reward system has been overstimulated. Your mind has been switching too much. And your emotional energy has been spent on things that gave almost nothing back. This is the hidden cost of modern stimulation. It does not always destroy you loudly. It quietly lowers your capacity. Your focus becomes shorter. Your patience becomes thinner. Your motivation becomes more fragile. Your mind becomes more reactive. And real life begins to feel slower than the digital world. A book feels too still. A walk feels too quiet. A conversation feels too long. A task feels too plain. A quiet evening feels like something is missing. But nothing is missing. You are just used to too much. And when you are used to too much, normal starts to feel like not enough. That is the real problem. Not that life is boring, but that your mind has been trained to need constant change, constant novelty, constant movement, constant reward. And when those things are not there, restlessness takes over. This is why the solution cannot be more stimulation. Another video will not fix it. Another app will not fix it. Another productivity trick will not fix it. More input will not heal a mind that is tired from too much input. The first step is not a perfect routine. The first step is noticing what drains you. Because most people only track what they do. They don't track what they consume. They don't track what they emotionally react to. They don't track how many times their attention gets pulled away. But your body notices. Your nervous system feels it. Your focus pays the price. So ask one honest question. What leaves my mind heavier after I use it? Not what looks useful. Not what everyone else is doing. What actually makes you feel worse afterward? Some things entertain you, but drain you. Some things inform you, but overload you. Some things connect you, but create anxiety. Some things distract you, but do not restore you. That difference matters, because not all rest is real rest. Real rest gives your mind space. Fake rest gives your mind more noise. And most people are accidentally choosing fake rest every day. They feel tired, so they scroll. They feel overwhelmed, so they watch more. They feel empty, so they search for stimulation. But the mind does not recover by being filled endlessly. It recovers when it is allowed to settle. That does not mean you need to disappear from the internet. That does not mean you need to delete every app. That does not mean you need an extreme dopamine detox. Those things sound powerful, but most people cannot sustain them. What actually works is smaller, less dramatic, more repeatable. Protect the first part of your day, because the first thing you consume often sets your mental rhythm. If your day begins with noise, you enter reaction mode immediately. Before you have even chosen your own thoughts, you are already inside someone else's. So give yourself a few quiet minutes before the world enters. No scrolling immediately. No flood of opinions. No instant comparison. Just space. Then protect the end of your day, because your mind does not shut down easily after constant input. If you feed it stimulation until the last moment, it carries that noise into sleep. This is why you can feel tired, but still not feel calm. Your body is in bed, but your head is still moving. So create a slower ending. Not perfect, just slower. Dim the input. Lower the noise. Let your thoughts land. And during the day, practice doing one thing without stacking another thing on top of it. Eat without watching. Walk without checking. Work without switching. Sit without instantly reaching for your phone. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is not failure. It is your system adjusting to less stimulation. It is learning that silence is not danger. Stillness is not boredom. And slowness is not a waste. This is how mental energy comes back. Not all at once. Not through a dramatic transformation, but through repeated moments where your attention is no longer being pulled apart. Because your attention is not unlimited. Every day something spends it. Your work spends it. Your relationships spend it. Your worries spend it. Your screen spends it. Your surroundings spend it. And if you never choose where it goes, the world will choose for you. That is why feeling mentally drained is not something to ignore. It is feedback. It is your mind saying, I am carrying too much. Too much noise. Too much switching. Too much comparison. Too many unfinished emotions. Too much information without space. And maybe the answer is not to become more disciplined. Maybe the answer is to become more protective. Protective of your attention. Protective of your calm. Protective of the quiet spaces where your mind becomes yours again. Because in the modern world, your attention is constantly being pulled outward. But energy returns when you bring it inward. When you stop feeding every signal. When you stop reacting to every pull. When you let your mind be quiet long enough to feel clear again. So if you feel mentally drained, don't immediately call yourself lazy. Don't assume you are weak. Don't turn it into another reason to attack yourself. Ask something better. What has been taking from my mind without giving anything back? That question matters, because the things that drain you are not always obvious. Sometimes they look like entertainment. Sometimes they look like connection. Sometimes they look like productivity. Sometimes they look like staying informed. But if they leave you heavier every time, they are not neutral. They are costing you something. And once you see the cost, you can start choosing differently. Not perfectly. Not dramatically. Just more consciously. A little less noise. A little more space. A little less switching. A little more presence. A little less reaction. a little more control. That is how the drained mind begins to recover. Not by doing more, but by carrying less.